If you haven't seen what's coming out of Pompeii lately, you're missing out. We've got skeletons, bakeries, wall paintings, and now even a banqueting hall. It's pretty amazing. So if you've got a minute, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about them. So the excavations are happening here in Region 9. So this is one region out of 9 regions in Pompeii. And excavators have been working here for over a year now. And this originally was excavated, this area, in around 1888. So you've probably seen the wall painting of the ancient pizza with the vegetables on top, and it's caused a lot of debate. But as we've said before, it's probably something like a focaccia. It wouldn't have had tomatoes on it because these weren't imported for a few hundred years, but it was some sort of very early pizza. Very exciting, and of course it's really well preserved. And we've also had the slaves who were kept in a bakery. The latest of the finds that I'm going to show you now is incredibly exciting. So we're in Insula 10, or Block 10 of Region 9 in Pompeii, and excavators have been working away, digging underneath to find a banqueting room in a house. It's full of elegant black wall paintings which seem to be inspired with mythological scenes from the Trojan War. This incredible banqueting hall was inside a domus, or a house, and it was built as a winter dining room, and it was meant to hold banquets and conversations, and it was clearly done with the intention to create an elegant lifestyle or an impression of on behalf of the owner. It's a really big room. It measures 15 metres long and 6 metres wide, and the presence of the frescoes and over 3 million tiny white tesserae, or mosaic tiles, on the floor tell us a lot about the quality of the artists and the huge investment that would have gone into this room. Now, the dominant theme in the room is heroism. We see heroes all around it, and these were involved in the Trojan War, which happened in around the 12th century BC, or so they say. They appear to float in space. This is assigned to the third style of painting. There are 4 styles of painting in Pompeii. The third style dates to between around 15 BC and 40 to 50 AD. So this gives us some idea of when this room in Pompeii was built and being used. So let's look at the first fresco. So here we have Apollo consulting with the priestess Cassandra. Now, what's super interesting and eerie about this is that he gave Cassandra the power to see into the future. But when she turned his love interest down, he cursed her so that no one would ever believe her predictions. It seems a bit eerie in the sense that nobody knew what was going to hit them. The people that lived in this house had no idea what was going to happen to them. And of course, that meant that she couldn't tell anybody about the Trojan War. Nobody would believe her, and she was later enslaved in this war. Now, on this side is a scene with a dog, which is amongst my favourites for good reasons. But it shows Helen meeting Paris, or the Prince of Troy, for the very first time. Now, in between, you can see Alexandros, which is his other name. Now, as I've said, this war was supposed to have been carried out in the 12th century BC, and so having them on the walls acted as a bit of an icebreaker for guests. They would have been encouraged to carry out deep conversations about the relationship between individuals and fate. So at the back of the banqueting hall, there's a corridor that ran down the side, which would have allowed slaves to appear in the room almost magically, holding food and wine and lots of other lovely things. And also inside the banqueting hall, it would have been dark. Now, the room wasn't open as it might have been in a summer triclinium. So instead, it would have been lit by oil lamps, a little bit like this one. And this would have made the frescoes appear as if they were moving and dancing in the light. And the white tesserae on the floor, on the mosaic, would have made the room even lighter. Now, the designers have thought even further than this about the purpose and uses of it, And of course, the oil lamps would have given off a black soot. So they've really thought about the fact that they're going to use black paint all around this room in the decorations. It wouldn't show up the soot, and so it would require less maintenance. The banqueting hall opens onto an unroofed, what they're calling an access courtyard now, with stairs. And below this, they found 2 charcoal gladiators written in charcoal, and a large phallus, which was a lucky or protective symbol. And this was likely written by the slaves who worked and lived here, and they would have used this otherwise undecorated access area, and we see this in other places as well. So in the Villa of Oplontis, we have what is now being understood as the zebra design or zebra stripes of slave areas in a villa. They didn't need the fancy decorations like we've seen in the banqueting hall. They just needed something that was practical and that would cover up the plaster, essentially. And this might have been an access area for them. The stairs would have gone, obviously, up to an upper floor, and this was common in Pompeii. There were many upper floors, not reaching the heights that Rome did, but upper floors nonetheless. So in this part of Pompeii that's been excavated so far, the excavations have revealed 2 interconnected houses, a house with a bakery and a laundry, or what we'd call a falonica. And now this sumptuous frescoes and these living rooms that are now emerging. It's amazing. There's so much more to come. And of course, these were being renovated and restored at the time of the eruption. This is a common theme in Pompeii because in AD 62 or 3, there was a major earthquake in the town, and quakes were really common, as they are just before an eruption. Even today, they're kind of a warning sign. And so there was a lot of repair going on around Pompeii in the buildings at the time of the eruption. So we see a lot of building material or painting going on, cracks in the walls, that sort of thing. And now archaeologists, of course, on the site are working to preserve these houses that they're uncovering for future generations so that we can all continue to learn from them and enjoy them for many, many years to come. This is why they've waited so long. I'm often asked why they've waited so long to uncover it. Well, this is why. It's partly to do with technology. It's partly to do with the fact that we need the money to preserve it and look after it. Otherwise, we're just going to uncover it as the Victorians did, leave it to expose in the sun, and we'll lose all of that beautiful information that are held inside the houses and the commercial properties. So they're looking after them. They're looking at how they can get you guys there as soon as possible. So I'll keep you updated. And if you want to hear more about ancient Pompeii and Herculaneum, make sure that you subscribe.